Hello, welcome to Back to the City. This is a very special episode because I have my friends Dana and Simone, aka SYM1, in studio with me. And the main thing that we're going to be talking about is a new event at the Uptown VFW on Friday, July 5th. And it's called Noir. The doors will open at 9:30, all happen at 10.
10 o'clock is when I start. I'll be the opening DJ. I'm extremely excited about it. And when I was talking to you about promoting this event, the first people I thought of are the other DJs that agreed to be on the show.
There are two other DJs, and then we also have Simone, aka SYM1, who is the very first person, if I understand correctly, that you reached out to. And full disclosure, I was recently invited to be involved in booking at the VFW, and Dana was in turn the first DJ that I reached out to involve in some capacity in an event. And I gave Dana the option of either just being involved in an event that I would put together, or co-curating with me, or curating, or it turns out, co-curating with someone other than me. Simone, meanwhile, SYM1 has been on Back to the City before. Once we've shared a little bit more about what people can expect from Noir, then we'll have a little bit of a recap of last time SYM1 was on and what's happened in the meantime. SYM1 will be performing.
Correct, but I also may offer a little bit of a DJ set as well involved in my performance. But yeah, I'm so excited to be a part of the experience that Noir really will offer. That futuristic cyberpunk kind of vibe is something that I'm so into, and I'm so happy that I get to share that with you too. I so admire what you do and the energy that you bring. I'm so happy that we get a chance to collaborate on something like this.
Yeah, we've actually talked about collaborating before. We got drinks once and just thought that'd be so fun to work together. And then 2 or 3 months later, we got to.
So you've spoken a bit about the whole experience of Noir, and we've listed the 4 acts. If there are 4 acts, then it's the 2 of you, plus DJ Eve and Liara.
That's correct.
And there is more to the experience than that. There at the bottom it lists Kid Cuisine Video, Brian Green, and Devin and Lior.
That's right.
Who are those artists?
This is
and what will they be doing?
I'm really excited about this event. Like, when he came to me, I was thinking, do I just want to put on a DJ show, right? And that would be fun. But I don't do anything halfway. And so I thought, let's make this an experience. One of the things I love about shows in Minneapolis is the presence of visual arts in most of them. There's just so many incredible artists here. And so I thought this would be a good opportunity to make this a multi-sensory experience.
Yeah.
And because they're so important to this event, because Brian is doing lasers, Kid Cuisine Video is doing live VHS mixing, Devin and Lior are just deco, savants.
Yep.
And they're just going to be as important as the music in this event. They needed to be on the poster.
Absolutely, very much so. And at the time of filming this, Dana and I and Devin and Lior are in a couple of days' time about to visit the space. The space will be quite radically transformed. The VFW event hall will be quite radically transformed by the time that people are arriving at 9:30 ahead of Dana's 10 p.m. DJ sets.
Right, when I was talking to the deco team, I asked them how much time they would need, and I was like, 1 hour, 2 hours, and they said 6 hours. Because we're going to be doing a lot. I mean, the music, it's going to be awesome. The dancing is going to be incredible. But this is really going to be an experience, I think.
Yes, and it's going to facilitate the dancing and everything. It really will be the case that when people enter the event hall that evening, it will not be the event hall that they're used to. It will be the alternative reality space, thanks in large part to the deco team, who will be arriving with Dana and me at 1 p.m. in the afternoon to transform the space. The kinds of events that we, Dana and I, often go to and enjoy, that kind of art component and deco component is taken as a given. We just had Steve Centrific on the show a couple of weeks ago. And so at all of Steve's events, the Intellifunk events, the space is transformed in a way that is designed to foster participation and the having of a certain experience.
And Devil and Noir actually work with television.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. So
But-
to be able to do that in the Uptown VFW is actually somewhat of a surprise to me.
I mean, a lot of this,
But
I had
it's exciting.
I had a conversation with someone from out of town, and they made the comment about there's always visual arts at these events, and I was like, is this just a Minneapolis thing? Because I spend most of my time here, and I started to think about it and think about other events I've been to out of the city, and it really not unique to us at all, but something that's really highlighted. And I love the city, I love all the artists here, and it's just such a great way to integrate it.
It's very intentional, and there's such a dedication to that component. And I'm excited that we'll be able to give people who perhaps aren't used to that experience in a conventional nightclub where people go not expecting that. There'll be some people will be quite surprised.
Yeah, I mean, the nightclub might have lasers, and we're going to have lasers for sure, but it's really going to be integrated into the rest of the experience. Because this is an event. This is a thing that we're putting on. It's Neon Noir. It's not like, oh, let's just set up these 4 nightly dances.
I was so excited when I went back and revisited my previous interview with Simone, SYM1, because so much of what we were talking about in relation to the EP that you had just put out at the time, All That You Want, relates to what you're all doing now. Because we were talking about co-creativity, and we were talking about having one foot in consensus reality and then another foot in this kind of alternative realm that is not unreal.
Right.
And we were talking about the promise of collaborating with others and the difficulty of determining who to collaborate with. Are we on the same team was a lyric in one of the songs. And so in the meantime, a team of collaborators has formed in a way which is analogous to what you had just at the time been doing with Fantasy, your virtual club. We're doing something similar or analogous with Neon Noir in a conventional club.
Yeah.
So could you do a little recap on what Fantasy, PHANTAS, importantly II, is or was, and what you sense the connection or the continuity is between Fantasy and Neon Noir?
I'm always so amazed when you go back and really analyze the videos, and even just during each interview, how much research you do, because you're pulling things out that I'm not even realizing are so true. So I'm like, wow, yeah, you're so right about that. Within Fantasy, it came out of a need during the pandemic to connect with other artists and connect with our creative scene. And Freeze Pop Records received a grant to produce a virtual venue in which artists could still connect with each other, submit music to each other, perform online, and be together in a way that was more involved than live streams. And so that was a wonderful experience to have that included a lot of collaboration and a lot of community, and something that I'm really excited that I think extends to what we're doing with Neon Noir is that sense of community. And I feel like Dana has really spearheaded like a vision and connecting a bunch of different parties together that are producing this vision. Truly, like I've always wanted to do something like, I'm obsessed with Batman Beyond. And so I really love like every club scene in Batman Beyond. And I feel like I'm seeing so many elements to that within Neon Noir that it just keeps me excited and keeps me engaged. But I feel like Dana has had like the know-how to do it in a way that I feel like I haven't had. So I'm so truly honored to be a part of this.
That means a lot that you'd say that, because I'm mostly faking it. I didn't have Batman Beyond in mind, but that is kind of a formative show for me. So it's very possible that the influence came.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I just like to stay organized, and that seems good enough.
Yes, you may be faking it, but you're making it. Okay. Yeah.
When I was revisiting the previous SYM1 interview and finding it to be absurdly relevant to this whole endeavor, the moment that most struck me was when we were talking about the process. Between the two of us, we were saying something along the lines, to paraphrase, as soon as something is envisioned, as much as we value surrender, going with the flow, knowing that growth happens when we're not trying to control things too much, as much as that's all important, we need to commit to staying in alignment with our values and our vision, and sticking with it long enough to allow something resembling what was initially envisioned to manifest. That was, I think, the centerpiece. We kept on coming back to that idea. And I feel like that is happening at every stage here. Like, even just the practical thing, making sure, okay, if they need, the deco team ideally needs 6 hours. Is that remotely possible? Maybe not. Let's see. Oh, yes, it is.
Right.
When can we all, therefore, like, be at the space? I host karaoke at the VFW too. There's a little pocket of time right before my karaoke shift where, like, we can all be there and the space is club ready. Right, we're going to meet there right before the transmission dance night. So this is what the club is normally like before a show. Fast forward a few weeks, how are we going to use that 6 hours to make it be Noir-like?
And you mentioned that the three of us are getting there early, but I also have a lot of friends volunteering as well. I owe everything to my friends, and this is something that they're helping with. I'm really grateful for it.
On the note of expanding beyond the two of you being at the center and then the 4 DJs, Freeze Pop Records is something that we need to talk about too, because Noir is presented by Kazuko Entertainment and Freeze Pop Records. Freeze Pop Records have just put out their first, it's not a mixtape, it's a movement.
Right, yes.
Compilation, Popsicle Volume 1. Beyond this first one, other artists connected with Freeze Pop Records will participate in some form. So what is Freeze Pop Records, and what role does Freeze Pop Records have in relation to Noir?
Yeah, well, I am a co-owner of Freeze Pop Records, and I generally involve them heavily within what I'm doing, since within what I do with Freeze Pop Records supports the community and artists in our community, not only just the artists, but also the community itself that attends these events and that supports these artists. And I feel like within what is the basis of Neon Noir, I feel is such an experience and is so heavily involved within what Freeze Pop Records would also like to do, that it absolutely made sense to combine that effort as well. And Freeze Pop Records has received a grant recently from the Metropolitan Regional Arts Council, and we are using some of those funds to help also uplift Neon Noir as well.
This activity is made possible by the voters of Minnesota through a grant from the Metropolitan Regional Arts Council.
Yes.
When I was doing a bit more research on Freeze Pop Records, like just the mission statement and the purpose to change the current state of the Minnesota pop industry, to begin with Popsicle Volume 1, bringing together, in this instance, 11 exceptional Minnesota pop artists. So it's all produced, mixed and mastered by local musicians. The style of pop, I think there's kind of a precursor for it in like Pop Inc. and Lollipop.
Yeah.
Brooke Calder, my good friend and ex-wife. So could you talk a little bit about the Minnesota pop industry, the changes that are being made to it by Freeze Pop Records, and the extent to which this, like pop music, where I'm playing some of the songs at the moment, this I feel is a particular Minnesotan or Twin Cities style of pop music that like has some heritage, that I love what you're doing with the label to share it more. and to be like, this is a form of pop music that ought to be recognized as a specifically the Minnesotan form of pop music. Do you have anything to add about what Freeze Pop Records do?
Yeah, to debate your point, I don't know if I would say it is a specific Minnesotan style of pop music. I don't want to claim that, but more so, do I want to highlight that I think that people have a specific vision of what Minnesotan pop music sounds like, and I think that it is a very old viewpoint of what it is, and what Freeze Pop Records aims to do is to overturn that perspective.
That's a better way of putting it than the way I put it. I think this is like, here's some pop music from Minnesota. This is what this sounds like. It doesn't have to fit into a pre-established sense of what Minnesota pop music sounds like.
Yes, exactly. And within Popsicle Volume 1, there are so many different styles. It is so different from song to song, and I think that's exactly the point also of that. Not only is there so much talent here, and it's so varied, but it is not what you would expect.
Yep. So, it opens with the SYM1 song Holiday, which I enjoyed you performing on the news.
Yes, thank you.
And immediately in that song, some of the themes that we were discussing in our previous interview are there. Late at night, I packed my bags away, nothing for me in this place. So there's this sense of, like, again, departing from what one is expected to accept as reality. To go on a holiday, that's a nice British phrase.
Yeah.
Go on a holiday. Is it kind of giving a little lyrical nod to like Madonna there in the holiday?
I didn't. If it is, I didn't know.
Not a
more so, is it giving a nod to a lot of Eurodance that I love, and the song is very Eurodance leaning, I would say. And so when we came up with the lyrics, holiday, so far away on a holiday, and like extreme rhymes within that chorus, it was very much leaning toward what would someone from or someone who makes Eurodance say within a song like this.
Yeah, but this sense of going somewhere and departing from a place, whether it's a physical place or an emotional place that one doesn't want to be in, and that one knows it's time to move beyond, and going somewhere else. That's a very SYM1 thing.
Absolutely. Yes.
And so it makes complete sense to me that when I reached out to Dana, I had no idea this was going to happen, but it fits, it's perfect. That Simone would be the person that Dana would reach out to. But for some reason, I was just reminded of our first encounter, which was outside the gay 90s. Yeah.
I was so lit when I first met you.
I couldn't tell because it was you were exuberant.
Yeah.
You know, as
I
you generally are.
Right. Just star power just radiates off of you.
But that was many years ago.
It was.
Wasn't it?
Know. I wonder how long ago that was.
Yeah.
8 years.
Yeah, and we
became before times.
I know, right? The before times.
It's funny to think we immediately became good friends.
Yeah.
And was that was prior to certainly releasing any of the SYM1 material that we discussed in the meantime.
Yeah.
On this, but now that we've taken this tangent, when I first encountered you at the gay 90s, outside the gay 90s, through mutual friends, had you transformed from Simone into SYM1? Were you SYM1 at that point?
No, I wasn't. I was still going under my alter ego name, which will not be named because I'm so done with that inside of me. But yeah, no, I hadn't even thought of yet that I was going to make a name change. But I had a lot to work on and needed to get away from it, and changing my name as well as changing my kind of musical style was a part of that. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with the light.
It needed a change.
It needed a change. Yeah.
I love that we encountered each other at that moment, because I think you are the same person. Like, we immediately had a nice connection, and then your music has documented, I think, the process of you very intentionally evolving, but the process of evolving and growing to the point where I feel like as we talk about your music and as I respond to and engage with your music, like aspects of you as a person that I encountered on that first meeting pre-SYM1 are integrated into SYM1 in a really lovely way.
That's very wonderful to hear. Like, genuinely, that is extremely moving to hear that comes across. I would only hope that, who I am is can be seen.
Yeah, and I think that's such a core component, even though this focus on entering a different realm and an alternative reality is a focus. It's not escapism. I think that's a key thing that we were talking about last time. And I feel like that extends to Noir too. So when people enter this space, it's a very intentionally curated space that enables something that is extremely real.
In fact, the transformation, I admire SYM1 so much, and the first time I met her, she was this full pop princess, had these two guys following her, carrying her stuff, and like the way that Simone is different than SYM1, like it's a whole thing, it's so cool. And Neon Noir didn't come in my head just fully formed. Partly I said I want to work with SYM1, and then that whole idea of her transforming into SYM1 is where the idea of making this a cyberpunk space came from, is me considering that. And so I think that's just a cool little component of working with her.
Oh my god, I have literally chills. That's so freaking... That makes me emotional to hear. Thank you.
I mean, it's just such a overall performance. I love it when you transform.
Yeah.
It's just so funny and so cool, and it's just so unique too. I love that.
And something like this is going to occur, of course.
Yeah, right?
It's the theatrics. We're here for the theatrics.
Yeah. It's a show.
Yes.
It's a performance. Yes. It's everything.
Exactly.
So this will happen at the VFW during the so we've already established 10 o'clock is when Dana's set begins. And then I think it's DJ Eve.
Oh, so the lineup was at 9:30. I started at 10. One of the reasons why you talked to me about this is that set I did for Cyber City Disco.
Correct. Yeah.
Which is one of my favorite sets to put together because I just kind of did that all from full thought. On a style of music I listen to super often. But I had to pull a bunch of sounds from like the 90s, like Euro pop stuff from the 90s and 2000s.
Which is a night at Beast Barbecue.
Yep.
We should establish on a Friday.
It is, yeah. And so we wanted to do an event around that style. And so it doesn't have to be the same style, but it's got to have some kind of electronica component.
Yes, I listened to that set because I was working. I couldn't go to Beast Barbecue on that night because I was working. But I listened to the set that you posted, and I was like, I would love Dana to do something along these lines. I trust Dana to do something. I love this set.
So that's the set that we wanted to build this off of. Like I said before, SYM1's the first person I thought of. I want to work with her, and then a lot of the deco and the event stuff blossomed from there. But the other two DJs, amazing, and they all bring like their own style of electro music. Like Liara is true electro. She brings just this like hard, fast, just incredible vibe, and like she's playing in New York in a little bit. Like she's moved here recently, and I'm just so happy that she said yes to doing this. And then DJ Eve is a DJ I met really recently at a No Boys in the Booth event. And we hit it off immediately. Like, she's awesome, and I was playing some of the Cyber City Disco stuff prior to my debut of that set or whatever. And she loved it too, and so she started playing some similar stuff. And she's gonna bring in like a more poppy, a more mainstream, a more popular element, and just brilliant. She's like one of the first female DJs in the city. She plays all over. So the lineup's gonna go me. I'm gonna start, and I'm excited to do that. And then Liara's next, and then we have Pop Princess SYM1, and then DJ Eden's gonna close us off. It's gonna be a really, really great night.
Yeah, and then so after having landed that dream lineup, all the people that you first reached out to, just like the first person I reached out to was interested, then the first people that you reached out to in turn were interested.
Yeah, and we have a lot of amazing events in the city.
Yes.
I felt like this kind of really focused on electro electronica vibe is a little bit of a niche unfilled. Like there's things like Cyber City Disco where that happens quite frequently. There's other events. But it's a sound that's really cool. And it's not techno, it's not house music, it's some combination of both. There's something totally different.
Yep.
Like Min Electro's out there, Jobot's out there doing just amazing work.
Absolutely.
But it's something that I just wanted to become like a popular event. So there's a lot of people there and then they get exposed maybe to one style they haven't heard. Maybe they're there for Liara and they hear DJ Eve. Maybe they're there for SYM1, they hear me. Maybe they're here for DJ Eve and they hear Liara. You know, because they're all going to be slightly different, but all with that same overall theme.
Yep. And it's not just those artists that are coherent, but then presumably, then as you reached out, there's all kinds of deco people that one could reach out to and people who provide visuals for events. So could you expand a little bit more on how Kid Cuisine, Brian Green, and Devin and Leo would then a whole extra stage of integrating the right people to make Noir.
Yeah, so Devin Noir and Kid Cuisine are pretty close friends of mine. Brian, I've met a few times and we get along great. They're awesome. But like we spend weekends and stuff hanging out, go on trips and stuff with Devin Noir. And the stuff they've done for Freak of the Week, for the Telephone, for just the brilliance they do with like a small budget and they just make things happen.
Yeah.
They were like the first people I thought of, like, because I want this to be an event. And Kid Cuisine does live VHS mixing and he's brilliant at it. Like, I saw this one that he was just live doing, hadn't rehearsed, where you see like steam from Top Gun, them flying, and then Godzilla pops up from the ocean, like right when it was just so cool. And like that's such a cool vibe for the BFW and this event especially. So projectors everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, we can do all kinds of things. And then Brian Green was the lasers. This is a cyberpunk thing, and I want lasers. So he came. Like I talked to him a little bit online, and he's actually charging me less than he typically does because he's like all in on this idea, which I'm very grateful for. And it's just going to be like a whole multi-sensory experience. I'm just really excited to see what they do. Like part of the way that I lead is by like finding people who are good at stuff, general idea, and let them do it. And these are like the perfect people for that.
And yes, they're doing what they normally do, but they're doing what they normally do in a way that is in keeping with the neo-noir, alternative reality, cyberpunk theme.
Yeah, and they're all in on the event itself too. Like we have a group chat going with ideas, and when we have some like, oh, let's do a little PR stuff, like people will send out their own things. It feels like a family affair. Like we're really putting something together. It's not like I'm calling in this DJ for this night and they like do their own thing, bring their USB and go. It just feels like everyone's contributing something to make this better than it would be if any one of us was.
It does feel like that. So let's focus on you and DJ. You've played some of my favorite events as a jumpsuit recently, and so that also is on your SoundCloud, and I'll provide a link to the SoundCloud if people want to check it all out. We can hear a little bit of that mix right now. And you said that was your homage to house music and possibly the most fun that you've had putting a set together.
Yeah, so I like all kinds of music and I've done all kinds of shows and I'm really happy about that.
Yeah.
But like funky house music, that's just where my soul lives.
Yeah.
And what I've listened to the most when I'm just feeling like listening to music. So when JC asked me to do Jumpsuit, I was extremely excited about it. So I just listened to all the funky music I have. I listened to some more and I was like, let's play this, let's play that. And so it was just a joy to like make this playlist. It was hard to cut things. And I ended up like bringing in some real classics, some real like Chicago house classics. Back when it originated, and it's just Like house music is amazing. All kinds of the modern house music, all the stuff that's come since then. But pure old school Chicago house is definitely my favorite. You know, when they were just ripping disco, they were just getting the get down and just, you know, repeating it over and over again. We had just brilliant DJs just making something new.
Yeah, I heard very, very good things about that jumpsuit set of yours. What are some of the other events around town that you've been enjoying playing?
Well, I have to shout out Nola. She gave me my absolute first shot at Freak of the Week. And one, I'm grateful for the shot, but two, Freak of the Week is probably my favorite event. It's one I go to most consistently. Like she brings in DJs from Detroit, from, you know, just everywhere, and they like this tiny little basement of a barbecue restaurant.
Yeah, also beef barbecue.
Yeah,
on
and
Friday.
it's incredible. It's so amazing. I mean, I owe a ton of where I am now to Nola specifically. Like
Nola Ray.
Nola Ray, yeah. So she like answers my questions all the time. She gave me my first ever lesson on DJing, but it was like with Final, and Final was beating up on it because he's like, "Oh, this is easier," and I think it's just because he's a genius. So that was my first, and from that, you know, JC was the first other big promoter to reach out to me, and Jumpsuit and Cyber City are both her events, and I've been grateful to play those. There's an Icy Spicy mix on my SoundCloud, and that's like this reoccurring house party, and friends of mine also hooked me up with that. Like I absolutely owe everything to my friends. They are the absolute best. I'm fairly new at DJing, and the reason that I've gotten good is because of constant support and instruction. So, like, you know, Jack Blazer, just amazing, taught me how to like layer house music. I didn't really know about it before. Aiko is the one that gave me the first lesson on CDJs ever. He's like listening to my mixes, giving me feedback. Steve Centrific listened to all of my first mixes that are actually pretty terrible now. I listen to them again. I've made them private on my SoundCloud at this point, but like he listened to them all and he gave me feedback on it. I mean, like Devin and Leor have always been supportive of me. Tyler, who's Kid Cuisine. There's like a million other people that, you know, we're separated now, but my partner used to like just make me food when I was just like forgot the time because I've been like just practicing for like 5 hours. I'd come up and, you know, we'd have food, and I just feel so lucky to be around such talented people, like so frequently all the time, and I'm having a ton of fun with this. But definitely, like, I owe everything to my friends in the community, and not to mention that Freak of the Week set. Like, it was full at 8 o'clock when I played, and that's really early for this crowd.
Absolutely, people are enjoying yourself.
Yeah, well, I mean, they had no idea if I'd be any good at that point because, like, that was my first one, and they still showed up because this community is just so supportive. Just really grateful for it.
Yeah, I see that. But Flamenco X.
Flamenco X, yeah, and actually, this is a fun little coincidence, or maybe, I don't know. But that's with my friend Marie, who is, like, really, really good friends with Simone. And I'm the one that kind of introduced them, and then I'm working with both of them on separate projects.
You're with Noir and Flamenco X are your two main projects.
Yeah, I mean, like the Flamenco X is really Marie's baby more than mine. But the idea behind it is like modern dance music with just traditional flamenco. She's a brilliant dancer. She's a brilliant organizer. She's doing all kinds of stuff with Flamenco X. And they do a lot of events that don't include me, but sometimes they do include me. And I bring in some house music, I layer it with flamenco, and it's just a lot of fun. It's like a great way that I can stretch myself creatively, and I've always wanted to work with her. It's been a pleasure.
That's at the Granada Theatre, is that correct?
We did have something at the Granada Theatre recently.
Okay.
Flamenco X has got some residencies too that off the top of my head I'm not thinking of right now. But they're more the traditional because they're those really guitarists that works. It's just a group of people that are pretty passionate about it, and I just feel lucky to be part of it too.
You just played Dance Church.
I did, yeah.
For us yesterday. You were sharing online the process of working on that particular set, and you referred to the 5 rhythms.
Yeah, the 5 rhythms.
And your intention was to craft a mix that in a coherent way kind of took the people who were there and responsive to the music on this journey through these 5 rhythms. And we put a diagram of the 5 rhythms, and there's like I've provided the visual here at the moment.
Yeah.
So on the outer rim of the circle, we have Flowing, Fear, Birth, being, body, and then there are the columns, and so in the center we have stillness, compassion, death, healing, spirit. Is the visual for anyone who wants to go further into it. But you said it's the 5 rhythms is the thing.
Yeah,
and then you curated your set to demonstrate it. So could you expand a bit more?
I want to shout out Dance Church first, because that's one of the more healing spaces I've ever been in. And to me, it's the purest expression of dance in the cities. Like, you're not allowed to talk on the dance floor. I go there and there's infants with their mothers. There's 93-year-old. There's people who are unhoused, people who seek wealthy. It's one of the more diverse spaces. People who are amazing dancers, and people that aren't very good at dancing. But that doesn't matter, because they're all there just to dance, and that's all it is. It's just to heal through dance.
Yeah.
And so that was actually one of the first shows I booked. They book out pretty far, and I just got to play yesterday. So I was really, really excited to kind of pay back a little bit about all the because it's a free event. Like, they take donations and they just put this on. So when I got the booking, I wanted to make it something like intentional. So 5 rhythms is something that I don't even know a lot about. A lot of people think maybe it's like hippie dippy stuff or like flower child stuff, and it kind of is. But it also really did work for me, at least emotionally. So it's got its roots in ecstatic dance. Ecstatic dance is not one genre, it's like a series. So in that set, I started out at about 70 beats per minute. I got all the way up to like a 167 and then back down, because you go through this cycle. And it was something that, like, I had been going through a lot of stuff in my personal life, and by putting together this set where it starts off with these like ambiance and meditation music, and then it gets into some things that are more like nostalgic and sad, and then we start with songs that give a little sense of fear and then anger, but then they reach this calm and acceptance. Like, music is the most powerful thing in the world to me, and this allowed me to kind of pour into what I needed into that set. And I was able to play it out, and I got a lot of people saying they felt similar about it. So I'm proud of what it was, and I'm just happy I was able to do it.
I think all 3 of us experience there to be, we could phrase it differently, but a spiritual dimension to dancing. It's certainly, I grow through dancing. I think that has to be experienced to land, but something like a dance church where it's free and inclusive, and then you're intentionally crafting this set where it provides a container within which, through the medium of dance, humans can experience the human experience. That's what's going on.
And not every DJ approaches dance church the same way. They book different DJs, and they all bring their own music to it. And not only is it free and inclusive, but also welcome. You feel welcome. Like, at the end of this, we all get in a circle and say your name. And then if it's your birthday, that week or the one before, you go lay down and lifts you up and you say happy birthday.
I forgot that, but
I mean, it sounds a little silly, but it really kind of gives you a sense of community right away. So when it was my opportunity, I wanted to just go, again, I don't do anything halfway. I wanted to say that dance church itself has its roots in aesthetic dance. Not all DJs take that and they're sad about that, but I wanted to do so.
Yes.
And I ended up having a lot of fun with it, but also just a lot of really good experiences and a lot of time to live through and stuff. By creating it. So.
One more very artful set. I think I have this right. It's the sunrise in a diamond sky.
You know what? That's actually, I based a lot of the set off.
The 5 of them?
Yeah. That was my first really attempt at mixing something that's not dance music at all. And that was something that, so I was on a trip with some friends, and it was sunrise and we were still up, and I just got up and started playing some of that stuff, and it was kind of wonderful for me and wonderful for them. So when I came back, a friend of mine had been going through some stuff and requested that I make a mix like that for them. And I did, and it was going to be just for them, but I ended up making it public. And some of those tracks in there is what I open this set with at dance church, and some of those tracks are how I end the set. So the idea of just starting off you're in this state of meditative calm, and then you go through intentionally, emotions that might be great, like joy, happiness, emotions that might feel negative, like anger and fear, but you're intentional about them and get to a space of calmness. It's better than trying to just like be and not realize or see these things happening.
The collaboration with Simone makes complete sense because the previous EP, there's 5 tracks on it, and our whole conversation in the previous interview was about how they map onto the 5 stages of grief.
Yeah.
So one of them is like working through anger, for
That's
example.
so crazy. Yeah, no, truly, like as I'm witnessing this discussion and just getting to like learn more about you and who each of us are, I just sense like such a thread between all of us that we so feel music and the movement to music very intensely and intentionally, and I think that's just so I'm so in awe about it.
Even just last time we were talking about dancing and the paradox of entering this alternative reality, like the SYM1 reality, where yes, SYM1 is up on the stage with the SYM1 dancers and so on, but also if the audience engage in the way that they are invited to, especially somewhere like Noir, where the whole space is transformed and it doesn't look like a VFW event hall anymore. The sensations are real that one feels, so it's not escapism. And I think with this particular project, we could talk about how important music is and how it can be transformative, but we have the opportunity to put all the factors together where that's just felt and experienced by the people who decide to come.
I wanted to say too that like that set was emotional deep. I really dug deep and I stretched myself creatively. But my favorite thing to be is just a fun DJ that plays music that makes you dance for an hour. It doesn't need to be something that's more than that, because dance is powerful. So, I'll throw in some electro swing or some more poppy stuff, because if it's fun and happy, then that's what I want to give. So when I do occasionally do things like Flamenco X or the dance church stuff, that's when I can really just think about, like, what does this mean at a deeper level? What does it mean? Like, how can I show something new?
Yeah.
But when I play just, like, Freak of the Week, I play Icy Spicy, when I'm going to play something that makes the audience just dance for you just lose yourself.
Yes.
It's like, that's Zen. So it doesn't have to be something that is intentionally deep, like dancing itself is Zen.
Yeah. But even that is, like, your visceral awareness of how transformative. So the house music that you were talking about enjoying the most, it is deep, and just you're aware that any DJ, has the potential to provide a container within which someone can undergo some kind of transformation. Yeah, and that's not to be taken as a given. That's a significant deep thing.
I am and will always be a dancer first. Like, that's how people got to know me. That's when I was beginning, because I'm an enthusiastic dancer. I'm usually in the front, I'm active.
Yeah, I knew you as a dancer first. I witnessed you dancing before I witnessed you DJ.
The coolest thing about DJing, though, is once you have the technical skills down, it's just like dancing. It's the same thing. Like, you feel it, like when you need a draft, when you need a cut. Like, it's just, you feel that music and you act. And house music's great because it's a little bit predictable. There's bars and phrases and you kind of know when things are coming. But once you have the ability to do things without thinking too much about with your hands and stuff, then the rest of it is just dancing.
Yes, absolutely. Being first a dancer who has attended, so I'm talking about you, who has attended like so many events, pre-existing events, I think you have such a deep awareness of like what a service is done by a DJ, and you have such respect clearly for like the other DJs that you've cultivated that awareness in response to. It's wonderful to see you like intentionally bringing that as you curate through the music and then also beyond the music.
I think the observation people make most about me is that I seem to really be enjoying myself.
Yeah.
And I really am. Like, I'm dancing with you. Like, this isn't, I'm not like you could DJ in whatever way you want, but when I'm DJing, like it's so much fun. It's so much fun. So why wouldn't I just show that and like join with the crowd, have fun together?
Absolutely.
It's the best.
Yeah. There is, and again, I think with freeze pop, all the freeze pop artists, there's this same kind of awareness. So I really like the song "I'll Get Over You," Denotive and SYM1, and how that begins. Well, how does it begin?
With the lyrics, how does that?
Yeah.
the
So
lyrics
now
begin?
we lay us down, we pray the beat, our soul to keep.
Oh,
That's
And if we
amazing.
die before
Oh
day
my
breaks,
gosh. I want to sign
we'll
with
start
that.
again. New beats to make.
So I didn't even know that Denotive was going to add that in until you sent over like the final versions to be mixed, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is becoming so much more theatrical than I was expecting. I'm absolutely obsessed because it's such a nod to Max Martin's production for like Britney Spears,
Yes.
Backstreet Boys, all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
it's
very, very, very audible.
Yeah,
yes, in
good.
a wonderful way.
because it's so fun. And yeah, all of that just was incredible. I'm sorry, I
Pray
forgot
the
the
Lord
question.
the beat.
Yeah. No.
I need a T-shirt. with
Yeah,
that. That's amazing.
yeah.
Well, there's not really a question as such. It's more, isn't like, I feel like the philosophy, the
Yeah.
attitude that we were just
Yes.
sharing is there, including like the enthusiasm and the joy and the playfulness.
Yes.
Is all there, particularly in that moment. But I think also across all of the freeze pop artists, maybe now is a good opportunity to say a little bit more about Noir's connection with freeze pop records
Sure.
and beyond this first Noir. Perhaps now is a good time to talk about some of the other artists involved in freeze pop because that's an important connection that we haven't really focused on.
Sure. I guess to explain a little bit more about like the connection with Freeze Pop Records and Noir is I think that we are in a flex space currently, and we currently it's Dana and I's connection. Truly, that like Noir we are so in tune with our visions, and we've wanted to collaborate with each other. And Kazuko Entertainment and Freeze Pop Records involvement, I think, is a byproduct of our shared passion and vision. But that doesn't mean that things in the future with both of us, like I think this is the start for things to happen in the future. What that looks like, I think we'll have to see, And for the other artists, a part of Freeze Pop Records, they specifically were chosen for Popsicle Volume 1. And now that project is over, they are still within community with us, but no one is technically like on
Fine.
Freeze Pop
Yeah,
Records.
yeah, right,
Yes. Everyone's independent, and we want to keep it that way.
Yeah.
Not only because our administrative side is very small, but also I think it just makes sense to us that artists should be independent. And we want to celebrate that and promote that. But yeah, to kind of reference back to the intention and vision within all of these artists, they were chosen very intentionally to be a part of Popsicle Volume 1 because we witnessed their vision within each of these specific realms of pop that they exist in.
I think that the second track, Chagrin by Natanya L, that is a song that on the one hand is danceable, and there's such a strong, powerful, well-crafted pop component, and it makes me think again of the 5 rhythms, and it goes, if one really pays attention to the lyrics, there is an invitation within that pop song to reckon with some of these aspects of the human condition.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. And I feel more and more that a lot of the artists that I work with, and I don't know if this is just because I I get along well with people who witness the human experience and want to celebrate it in ways, but also like witness in ways in which it can be chaotic and hard to deal with. I think that I love to surround myself with people who are not only aware of it, but want to celebrate it and share with others new ways to experience it. I feel like that's something that I really admire about you, Dana, and noticed immediately is your passion for experience. And like, I remember like the first time that we met, but definitely the first time that I felt like we connected further was at Prairie Fire and seeing you dance and just knowing that you were fully into that moment. And I just think that's so magical.
Well, that's something that I noticed about you too, right away. Like, I like to be all in on things. Like, if I'm going somewhere and it's like, if it's a country concert, I don't listen to country, but I'm gonna wear cowboy boots and a hat.
Yes.
You know, I just want to be part of it, and like the way that you presented yourself, and the way that you're not just Simone up there singing. Now you're SYM1, you're something big and different, and then it's just about like really grasping the experience because this is our only life.
Right.
And so let's squeeze everything we can out of it.
Exactly.
I'm definitely not too cool for anything because I'm down for whatever. Because if someone enjoys it, it's probably enjoyable.
Yes.
And so I love that about her.
Absolutely. And on that note of going all in, I really love your logo.
Yeah.
And is it Cthulhu or what is it?
It's just a jellyfish rocking out. I mean, just enjoying music.
How did we wind up with a jellyfish?
So my friend Andrew actually paid for it for me. I had a show where they wanted a logo and I didn't have one, so I was like doing AI stuff. I was like, this is not what I want this guy. And so I worked with Brittany, and like she did just send me some like samples, like initially like what kind of music, what do you want the vibe to? There'd be samples, and we'd narrow it down. A jellyfish is just so damn cute and fun, and like it'd be cool like as its own thing versus having the whole Dana Kazuko next to it. It could just be its own thing. And the colors were great. I don't know, it just over time processed it down to that. And I just think jellyfish are super trippy and amazing.
Absolutely.
Like just strange and weird and kind of doing their own thing.
Otherworldly, but also real.
Yeah.
It seemed like a jellyfish. If it didn't exist, one would think it was a science fiction thing.
For sure. I mean, like, and we don't know everything about them. Maybe there is a jellyfish out there rocking out to headphones, and so I represent that jellyfish.
Yeah, they seem intelligent.
Yeah, I mean, they're strange creatures.
Yeah, they're likely to discover what we know about dance music.
I mean, who knows? I mean, they have a lot of little feet they can dance with, although they're not really feet. I got to really understand my jellyfish etymology now. So I can talk about this with authority.
True.
So, or it could be Cthulhu. I don't know. Whatever.
I like that it's the jellyfish even more.
Yeah.
So, Paul, are there things that we haven't talked about that we want to?
How to buy tickets?
Advance tickets for me and Noir are just $10. It's $15 on the door. If you run into me, Simon, at the VFW, normal pre-transformed VFW at any point, or me anywhere actually, you can get a $10 ticket that doesn't have any hidden Eventbrite charges. If you just run into me at any point beforehand and have like 10 seconds to spare, and then you'll have the ticket in your email.
These tickets it's going to be a great deal. I promise you. Like, if we didn't give the
These
grant
tickets
that
are
we're
a
working
steal.
with, we're just like excited to do it. Like, it's very unlikely we're making any money on this, but it's going to be super fun.
Yes. Yeah, $10. What we're describing with entering into this container that the deco people, the lighting people, the video people, let alone all four of the main artists listed on the flyer, there's a lot of intention going into creating an experience.
And no requirement to this, but if you do show up in like Cyberpunk gear, you get a free sticker. So that's a pretty good deal.
You definitely want the sticker.
Yeah. I mean, like, Neon Noir is just so cool. The sticker.
For real.
Yeah. I feel like there's been a lot of flow in how it's all evolved.
Yeah, it's been an intentional process. So we had time to get this going, and like at first, it was, we had a week to do a lot of stuff, and then we had that ready, and we have a whole game plan laid out about when we're going to push this out, get the ticket link out. Overall, like we just want people there, not just for the ticket sales. That's obviously part of it, but group experiences are more fun than individual experiences, and when you have people out there doing this cyberpunk thing, it's just going to be a great night.
Yeah, it really is. So again, 9:30 is when the doors will open. We recommend arriving in that half-hour buffer before the first DJ set because everything about it is very intentional. You've been talking about the trajectory of past DJ sets, and so being there before 10 p.m., which is when Dana will start Dana's 1 hour long set.
And I've been really lucky to have full dance floors most of my DJ or all my DJ career, and I don't want to start now with an empty one, so it's gonna be fun. I promise you. And like openers are supposed to be like kind of slow and calm and building up to it, and I promise you, I won't be doing that.
Yeah. We're keeping the streak going, so you must be there to fill the dance.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. I'm so glad, again, that we're able to get that deco team, to give that deco team the time that they need to be able to have the space that people enter ready for this 10 p.m. set, to not be what they're expecting. Yeah. Well, I think that more or less covers everything.
I want to add to that when I was like shouting at my friends. I know I was like listening to these in my car on the way here, but like when I was able to do back-to-backs right at the beginning with like Dazzle and like Eric with his
Palm Butter,
and well, we did a show back-to-back, but like Bobby came over to my house and I was really new at this, and she's an established talented DJ, and we did back-to-back, and I got to watch these brilliant DJs up close. And they're willing to do that with me, and you know, when I'm not nearly on their level. Eric is my friend, and he's like my sound guy security blanket. So whenever I go anywhere, I was like, I have him on speed dial or ask him to come early. I've just been so lucky with, even if they're not helping me directly, you know, to witness this. I just want to really emphasize how much that like the only reason I'm doing well is because of the community. I work really, really hard, but a lot of people do. I've been able to get a lot of support.
Thank you very much for both coming in today, and all the more so for taking the invitation to be involved in some way in a DJ night and turning it into everything that we've just been discussing.
Sometimes I try to do things like minimal or like not. I just can't. I'm just like, oh, this is a great idea. I'm going to add that, and so. And
we love that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's what we want.
So thank you. Yeah. We enjoy that too. This has been Back to the City. Join the three of us and many, many more at the Transformed You Won't Recognize It BFW on July the 5th. We have Crimes Against Ravers the following night as well.
That's going to be insane. July 4th weekend.
Yeah.
I'm going to be dead. It's going to be awesome.
You can cancel your camping reservations to get your money back.
Oh, I won't be doing it. Yeah,
no, I'm talking about the crowd here. Just
right.
In case you want to stay now for that weekend. Tip.
$10.
For real.
Cool. Well, thank you very much again. This has been Back to the City. I'm Simon Calder. We'll be back next Thursday at 10 p.m. if you're watching on MCN6. This episode and all the other episodes are archived on YouTube as well. I am excited to witness the evolution of Freeze Pop Records and Kazuko Productions.
Entertainment. It's just I'm buying a lot of equipment, so I want to write it off, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And to be continued, but in the meantime, Friday, July 5th, BFW, be there at 9:30 p.m.
Music starts at 10.
Music starts
right.
at 10. Well, the experience starts at 9:30.
That's right. Yes.
See you there.